What's up, people? Alright. Card 7. 12:45. Okay, so yesterday we continued. We reviewed the entire append to save system code thoroughly. Everything looked 100% perfect. Then we began working on the pop section to handle logic, saving a visual card read data. We stopped at line 27 and save logic file. Alright, so let's pick up there. Let's go to line 27 and save logic. So we're creating this function called custom append list save function. Okay, so how do we get the... Well, we'll just define the visual card group name in this function, because we're gonna need this. We're gonna need this tuple here to access the different tuples. So this is normally in custom append list, and now since we're just importing this into let's see. So yeah, we would have to how's it gonna know what cursor is? Well, because we tested that, didn't we? Because cursor is created in save database setup, and that is like happens at the root level. So as long as the save database setup is run at the root level, then anything that succeeds it will know what cursor is. I'm pretty sure we tested that. So we could assign this. We could create this inside of custom append list. I'm not sure, honestly, where it should be created. It could be either or. We could create this here and save logic, but what does that imply? Well, if we create it here and save logic, that means we have to pass in the card group name as an argument, but we wouldn't have to, well, cursor would already be available. So what else? We have the, well, we would also have to pass in the item, because it wouldn't know what that is. And that's it. That's all we would need. Would be the card group name and the item. Or we could create it in custom append list and we would just be able to reference these things directly. The card group name and the card group name tube. I would rather this be here. I would rather it be inside of save logic. Yeah, so what I'll do is we're gonna take in the card group name, and then we're gonna take in the item. So and then in this case we would say if card group name is in visual card group name tube, that would work. Passing in item would work. There's nothing wrong with doing that. Okay, so yeah, I think this is what we're gonna do. So let's add the next param, which is card group name, and this is type is going to be string, purpose. Here we're going to have type is going to be string, purpose is going to be the card group's name, including the P1, P2 prefix to be used to access / create database entry. Yep. Alright, then we have another one which is the item, and that's going to be the type will either be a card list or custom append list, and then the purpose would be to the item that is being added to the that is being added appended, popped from the associated database entry. So in the case that we were clearing, in the case that we were going to clear, we would not have an item. So item actually could be an integer as well for pop. So item would be default to none. Item is being appended by defaults to split type, card list, custom append list, or integer, or dot pop. Purpose. the item as being independent properly associated database entry. And default to none in the case of dot clear. Alright, so first off, I'll just add some little notes in here. I'm gonna put ensure logic for dot clear is added concerning item equal none default. Ensure logic for each method string is added. Convert self dot names to have that prefix removed. And also we're going to need to import ensure logic is proper for importing to custom append list numpy. Convert self names to have that prefix removed for proper data points. Okay, so first off, I think we should do the method strings. Well, actually, let's change the names first. So let's do self card group name, and we're gonna change that to be just card group name. Right. Now we need to do this for visual card group name tube. Okay, and we also need to move visual card group name to this file. Let's do that. Well, let's change the name first. Well, no, let's move it, and then we'll change the name. So let's go up here. We're gonna copy this. And then we'll have this right at the top. then also remove all associated visual visual card group name tube to this file from custom append list. We already did that. Now we're going to remove all associated visual card group name tube. We also need to remove all code associated with this function from custom append list by and replace it with this function call with the proper args. Alright. But before we do that, we'll just comment it out because that's usually how we do this. Now we go down here. I'm going to copy this comment actually. method string card group name items equal to none. Alright, so we replaced, let's see. Alright, here we go. So remove all associated visual card group name to code from custom pen list. I didn't actually do all that. Let's go over here. Okay, so let's add logic for each method string. So we have if card group name is in visual card group name 2. card group name is individual card group name to. Then we're going to check to see if it exists. Would we do this for append? Yes. Would we do it for pop? Yes. Would we do it for clear? Yes. So this is going to happen regardless, so it'll always run. If it exists, we select it, deserialize it, and convert it to a Python card group data list. Alright, yep, so that's good. If it doesn't exist, then we want to create it, create an empty list, that is. And that would want to happen for append, for pop, and for clear. I think all three of them, we would want that to happen. We would want the data to be added. Even for clear? Well, yeah. Okay. Then we have the item type. So this for append, this would either be card or list or a custom append list. For pop, it would be integer, and then for clear, it would be none. Would be list, custom append list, or a card. Pop, well, yeah, pop, it would be integer, and then clear, it would be none. And when you do none type, is it none type or is it just none? So there is no way to do it. Okay, so we can't check the type of the item here. We would have to do something different. So let's do it like this. Say if method string is equal to a, or method string is equal to actually we'll just do it like this. Method string is equal to a. We do this. So if the method string is equal to A, meaning it's for append, then we're going to get the item type. We're going to check to see if it's a card. If it is, we're going to append it to the card group data list, the item ID that is. Else, safe ID list is created, and then we iterate through each card in the item, and we append each card ID to the save ID list, and then we append the save ID list to the card group data list. Alright, cool. Now, and then we would ultimately call visual data save function, but that will be universal for whatever the method string is. Now, if method string is equal to P for pop, then what we'll do is we're going to what do we need to do for pop? For pop, we need to well, we would already have this created, the card group data list, and then we would pop from the card group data list, right? So if it didn't exist, but I don't think we ever do that. If it didn't exist, then why would we be popping from it? Because if we pop from it, that means we previously appended to it. So if we appended to it first, that means the card group data list does exist. If in the case that we popped and it didn't exist and we created the card group data list, when we try to pop from it, subsequently it would throw an error. It would have an index error because it can't pop from an empty list. So that would just crash the game. But that's no big deal. Like I'm pretty sure we don't do that anyway, and I can just add an exception in the case that like we do that. I'm pretty sure we don't. So we can just do card group data list dot pop, right? Card group data list dot pop, and then we're gonna pop the item because it's been loaded in. We're popping whatever item from that object, and it's basically a reflection of the card group. So we're just popping the item from reflected card group in database. From database, from database, from reflected card group, and then we would, like, that's it. There's nothing else to do, right? Just that. Yeah. I mean, I don't think there's anything else we need to do. We would just say card group data list pop the item. The item would be the index. Yeah, because we're popping it from the actual card group. This is popping it from its database mirror. Easy. I don't think there's anything that needs to be done. Then we would say elif method string is equal to C for clear. So elif method string is equal to C for clear. In that case, we would just do card group data list dot clear. Item is equal to none. We don't need item there. And we say clearing and reflected card group. Clears reflected card group. Simple. Alright. Now what? Then we would universally call visual data save function. passing in the card group name and the card group data list. Easy peasy. Alright, that's done. So ensure logic for clear is added concerning item known as equal to default. Ensure logic is proper for importing to custom append list. So as far as it being imported to custom append list, yeah, so we have the method string, the card group name, and then the item. So that's all the logic that's needed, I think. Now we have remove all curses here, this function from this append list and replace it with this function call with the proper args. Okay, so now we need to, we did the removing, so we need to add this function call with the proper args into pop and clear. So we need to go there and do that. So, yeah. So let's go over to, we'll copy this first. Go down to pop. We want to put it in the right spot. Alright, here we go. And if change from varcheck is false, or true, it doesn't matter. We would want it either way to be to be saved. So where would we put it? I suppose we would put it at the very top. There is no like initial deck append type scenario here, like a special case scenario. Passing in subcard group name, and then we're passing in the item here, which would be an index. Yeah. So saves that, takes care of that, easy. I don't think there's anything else that needs to be added. I don't think we need to put it in a different spot. We just put it right at the very top. Alright. Then, well, I guess actually, wouldn't we want it to be done after it's done on the screen? So wouldn't we actually want to save it after it happens? So like, wouldn't this be at the very bottom? But I'm worried about if we return. See, because we do return at certain spots. But we know that this wouldn't apply to ref list, so it wouldn't return in that scenario. So I would say, yeah, we would want it to actually happen after the card is moved there. If that makes sense. Yeah, I would say I don't know. Should we? like if we disconnect before it gets moved, but then we saved it in that card group, you know what I mean? Like, it would be disingenuous to say a card existed in a card group before it was actually visually there. Because this raises a concern about reconnect logic for whenever we reconnect using in the middle, if we get disconnected in the middle of a card movement from one group to another, I suppose that would constitute a checkpoint. So like if we disconnected in the middle of a card movement, we would just I guess we could just revert back, like we would just have a save point at the beginning before that card was moved, and then we could continue from that point on. Or we would literally just pick up where we left off with the data like in the middle of the card movement, whatever XY it was at, that's where we would restore it to. I would say honestly we would restore it back to its exact location. I guess it's either or. So in that light, I would say we would want to save the data after it was we would want to save the data after it was visually moved, because in the case that I don't know, honestly. It's a little bit complicated as far as when the cards, like, whenever we transfer play cards to melds, we append the entire meld here in this append call. So whenever we do that, like, when should we save the data? Because if we revert to like the beginning of the append method call as a checkpoint, that would be simple. That wouldn't require any like special logic. We would just restart it from the beginning. It's that simple. And we would just revert visually to that state, and this function would just get recalled or whatever, exactly how it was, you know. But if we save in the middle of a card movement or whatever, in the middle of a meld, you know, transfer from play cards to melds. Let's say it's a 5-card meld, and on the 3rd card we get a DC. If we didn't revert back to that, Well, then that means then this means that when we reconnect and we recall this function, it has to like intelligently pick up where it left off, which is pretty difficult to do. I mean, it's not impossible, right? It would be kind of hard to do. We would basically, or we would probably have a parameter passed to the append function or something, maybe, which was called like reconnect. I don't know exactly how we would do it, but we obviously wouldn't be able to recall the append method with the same parameters, because then that would restart the process. Like, it would restart a process that it was actually in the middle of, and the data would be restored visually concerning it being in the middle of the process, but it would also simultaneously be trying to restart the process, so it would be bugged. So like we would have to have some complex logic that like checked the item and saw, you know, how many. We'd basically have a checkpoint for each card. So in the case of each card being moved from that play card to the meld, we would pick up at a like if we crashed in the third card, we would have to have a way to, you know, like we'd have to have a way to know that, you know, which means we would have to track which card was being moved relative to the entire list of cards, that it was the third one, and therefore pick back up at the third card and then restart that process, but not for the first card and the second card. So like I would just say, I don't feel like I want to do that. I can always come back and change it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to make the decision to go with the simpler, easier option of just having a checkpoint per append call, to make it nice and simple. So if we didn't make it to the very end of the append call, the append function, then we would just revert all the way back to the beginning with the same arguments and start over and just rerun it. So if we had a 5-card meld moving from play cards to melds, and it crashed on the third card or even the 5th card, it would just revert back to the first card, like all the way from the beginning, and remove those cards one by one again. So it would have to redo that. That's really not a big deal. It's really not. Is it perfect? No, but like, what am I making here? You know, I'm not making I'm not making World of Warcraft, dude. Like, it's just, it doesn't have to be perfect. It's meant to be good enough to show that, you know, like, I can do these things. It doesn't have to be precision down to the nanosecond. So I'll put this in an issue. We'll call it we'll just call it play cards to melds. Well, we'll call it card movement save issue. Concerning how save system will interact with card movements and checkpoints. Decided that we would have a checkpoint at the beginning and end of data pins. If it doesn't make it to final checkpoint, reverts all associated data back to beginning and redoes it. This applies to card groups being moved from play cards to melds. The other more precise option would require a lot of added logic to determine proper re-entry with different arguments, etc. So we're not worried about doing that. Now I'm going to take a break here, but I wanted to get this figured out with where we should save. And let me put this as the next thing. We'll say determine where exactly inside of the associated functions, or methods rather, determine where exactly inside of the associated methods the function call should occur, i.e. shouldn't it occur at the end, aka after visual movement has been completed? Yeah, so we'll stop here. And this is line 31 in save logic. So let's copy this, and then we'll just put at line number 31 in save logic. Alright, and we'll do 56. Continued working on save logic dot custom append save function and associated logic. And we'll stop at 158. So this was an hour and 13 minutes. We'll just say an hour and a quarter. This will be 158. 157 to 158. Alright. You get a branch, and we're in the root of the project directory, so we are on the right branch as well. We're going to do git add dot, and then we're going to do git commit dash m, double quotes, paste that in. Our title will be save system visual data save function part 7, and well, this actually is a visual data save function. This should be called custom append list. Custom append list save function part 1. There we go. Associate logic in custom append list .py. With 2 P's. All right. There you go. So copy this. Let's get rid of that stupid shit. There you go. So now it's save system custom append list save function part 1, so on and so forth. Alright, hit enter. 5 files changed, 109 insertions, 50 deletions. Now we'll do git push. There we go. Okay. There we go. Now we'll create a local backup. Delete the old one. Paste in the new one. $325.25. There you go. All right. Go back here. Rename the backup to reflect today's date, and